for the tea party. Oh, come
But-
on in.
Hey, Ralph.
But anyway, I'm not physically
guess
cold
so.
tolerant
Have-
at all. I have very little
Ralph, have you
I
ever
don't have a high
had
metabolism
any
or
of the jasmine tea? Did you ever
any
have
natural
some from the-
insulation.
I'll be right back.
I did
Save
once,
my
it's
spot.
pretty good.
So I can't take cold water. I can't swim unless it's
Oh,
80
yeah,
degrees.
me either.
But,
Sucks like heat
but
right out of me.
what makes me cold tolerant is that I know how to dress. I've been a Yankee long enough that I know how to dress for it.
I was
don't wanna
hoping,
put
I was
Ralph's
hoping to
back
see
to
you
the
because
camera.
I wanted.
Yeah, never sit with your back to
To the camera.
We can move up a little.
I should add jail. I'd never be able to tolerate cold in jail. Jails are cold, but they don't give you a sweater. They take your stuff away.
I was
So then
under
you're-
more Wild Bill Hickok.
Then
Well,
you're cold and you
We
don't.
don't. We don't see your back. We just don't see you. We see a little bit of the brim
Oh,
of your
that's
head,
okay,
depending
then.
on which way
Yeah.
you turn.
I vote.
There
Actually,
you
if
go.
you went around the corner that way, you'd be in the
That's
shore.
right. You could slide over there by Devine, and you could be in
Yeah,
the
you'd
picture.
be
Then
in
you'd
the
block Devine.
Sure.
Yeah.
Go over there,
block
Blocky, go by him.
I don't know if he'll show up.
You
Oh,
can
there
find
you
him
are.
this
Look,
week.
look, look. There he is. He's in the camera.
Oh yeah, he is.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
about. If you came a little closer.
Yeah.
If you come in a little
Slide
closer
on
to
around.
Ralph,
Slide
you'll
on
be
around
in.
this way a little bit,
Just
and you
pull
will.
up.
Pick a
little
side.
You
Yeah.
will be. Yeah.
This is
I
a
think-
political statement.
Yeah.
You're a leftist or a rightist.
No, see, come on around to your right. No, the wrong way. I think.
But anyway, if all I
Yeah,
had
no,
was an
no, no.
orange suit, then I'd want it to be 71 degrees. Yeah.
Oh.
What is he?
Where's the camera?
There. The active one now.
Well.
Yeah.
I think it'll work. No.
Is that one
Okay. Whatever.
Say something.
It works. Oh well. Now Devine ran away. I had to ask. I wanted
in?
to
Yeah,
ask
yeah,
her about
that's the one.
I wanted to ask her about a DVD.
Yeah, that's the active
Oh
one.
well. I guess you can ask her later.
Point it this way, and I'm not pointing at it. So yeah, it's that one.
Well, what's up, Ralph? You got a report for us? I've been watching you. I saw your green screen, and what was the other one? Let's see. And the umbrella and the light.
Yeah.
The umbrella and the light, which really does come out looking just the equivalent of a professional light for
Sure.
nothing. Yeah.
The secret's having that umbrella and diffusing the light so that it's spread out.
Now I had already in my life, and this was years ago, more than 10 or 15 years ago. Okay, I did this. I had already done the combination of your two things, and what it was is I had made a PVC frame like you used for your green screen, but I had gotten a shower curtain that was just frosted plastic,
Yeah.
and stretched the frosted. And
diffuse it,
it
that's
was
great.
huge, right? And then I had put a couple of poles in the back that held flash units that would go off simultaneously
Yeah.
behind this thing. So I had a diffuser that was the size of that wall right there, roughly speaking, and with four flash units behind it that would go off at once, and that which was very similar to both of your. Is this thing? It's getting ready to tweet, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, okay.
John,
But-
what were you fixing to ask me? Or like you said, I was hoping you would come and what?
Well, yes, because yesterday, those are lovely, by the way.
Tasty too.
I hope so. I'll put it on that.
Oh, I don't know.
They have to go that direction. I'm not going to stand here holding it. Take the plate.
Okay, what I wanted to ask you about was last night in Studio B class,
I've had mine.
Oh,
Thank you. It was
we
delicious.
recorded some DVDs, and specifically I wanted to know. Do you remember the DVD that you recorded? And then you don't remember that?
Yeah, I remember recording it.
Okay, you remember that, and then you finalized it.
Yeah.
Do you remember what we did with it?
I took it out because you asked me to take it out.
Okay,
And we put it, our last I saw it was sitting on the table there.
okay, I picked up one from the table here, and I hope it's that one.
Yeah, that was it.
But we burned two last night. Remember?
Yeah, and the other one got taken out too. I don't know what happened with that one. I remember I took mine out and put it on the table here.
Okay, I'm just hoping the one that I picked up was the second one we made.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Okay.
Why? Did you have things on the
I
evidence on it?
I wanted to review it before it circulated. Yeah, you know, you remember we were
The
talking.
conversation?
Yes, we were talking about all kinds of things last night.
Yes, we were.
Yeah, and I thought, well, I'd better review that before it just circulates.
Might you need to edit it?
I might need to destroy it.
Oh, my.
Well, we were just talking politics and such, but
Yes, we were.
catch me after the show.
Well,
Uh-huh.
who knew that Buncombe County was such a little den of iniquity?
I did. It's
Yeah.
always been that way.
See, I
Seriously,
came here from New Orleans. I thought,
You thought New Orleans was
I'm
in
going to heaven.
seriously, county sheriffs have always controlled the counties, and some of them controlled the gambling and everything, including here in Buncombe County.
Yeah.
Yeah, this has been actually particularly. This has been. This area has been run with particular high disregard for some time. Probably about as far back as there is history
Yeah.
of this area.
And a lot of small rural counties have been run that way because there was no one to stop them.
Well, I mean, there's real boss hog activity going on with Mr. Medford.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's where they got by the whole idea about boss hog for this part of the country.
Well, did you
It was actually Hazard
any kind
County,
of sweetener in
Kentucky.
that
Okay.
No, Hazard County, North Carolina.
in your tea?
Me?
Uh-huh. 'Cause
That's
it
not
really
what
I don't know if you take sugar or not, but some form of
No,
There
sweetener
is no
you
Hazard
shouldn't.
County.
really
North
does bring
Carolina.
this to life.
I think it is what the producers of the show said. There is no Hazard County, but
Just a touch.
Yeah.
I remember it as Hazard County, North Carolina.
Let me see.
Well, it could have been Buncombe, couldn't it?
Yeah. Well, you know, it's where bunk was invented.
That's right.
The word bunk comes from bunkum.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Well,
That's
it
right.
literally came
birthplace
from
of Bunk.
Congress, but it was a representative from Buncombe County that
We did it.
was asked to talk on for a long time to keep a vote from coming to the
Right.
floor, and people started calling it a bunch of bunkum.
I didn't know he was
But
asked
it's
to
like-
talk on a long time. I thought they couldn't stop him.
Yeah, it's like kissing the stone, you know.
Yeah.
Well, what I read was that he
The
was
birthplace
actually
of Bunk.
asked by his party to keep the vote from coming to the floor, and he just set off talking.
That was about a
Like a
subject that
filibuster,
had no
yeah.
bearing on it. That's where Buncombe was invented. I think that was 1827. It was quite early.
And who was the?
One of the first
Do you recall
filibusters.
who the?
I don't recall his name. I
I've
think it
seen
was
it written
Charles
down,
something.
yeah.
It's but the story is very common. If
Yeah.
you do a history of Buncombe County, you
Mhm.
find it related a number of times.
And then later it was just shortened to Bunk.
My great grandfather was sheriff of Madison County. I have no idea how that reflects on his honesty.
What's his name?
If he was Ramsey.
Oh, my! And I didn't know that there was a Ramsey that was a sheriff of Madison County, but that goes back now. There's a family that's been in Madison County
For a long time.
Yeah.
In fact, if you're descended from the Ramses, you and I are cousins.
You look a Ramsey. Now that
Right.
you say it, I didn't
Yeah.
know. I never thought of that, but you look a Ramsey.
Did you
Sure
hear
did.
that, Alan?
Yeah.
Says if
I
you're
know
a
Ramsey's a
Ramsey-
big family. I mean, there's Nathan Ramsey, you know.
Randini.
He says if you're a Ramsey, then you and he are
Yeah.
cousins.
You want the
It doesn't
middle
surprise.
brownie?
I'm cousins. I'm distant. Some sort of distance cousin. With
All right,
Say
Randy.
Randy
Randini
Brownie,
wants
say-
the middle brownie. Well, you better get down here quick because I got my eye on it too. Bye.
Say Brandy a brownie.
He's just
Only
saving
if
that.
he gets here.
I have the funniest campaign card from my great grandmother. She ran for county clerk of Madison County. And I still have this campaign card from 1942, and it says, "She's hardworking and she needs the job."
Yeah.
I love that.
Well, that's the same campaign I wanted to run on. I wanted to. I was.
Yeah,
I was
Lindsay Simmerly did some of that.
That's what I wanted to run on the jobs platform, because I need one.
Yep.
I don't want to run. I don't have enough stamina for running.
Yeah, Lindsay Simmerly said,
Talk to me now.
Talking about Buncombe County being a little Sodom and Gomorrah that we didn't even know was happening.
Gomorrah.
Well, yeah, but the atomic weapons are on the other side of the mountains.
Sodom.
Sodom and Gomorrah.
Robert
Well, you know,
Ramsey.
Sodom Laurel is just over the. A Sodom and Gomorrah? Don't you mean
I'm
Peyton
not
Place?
a sodomy Gomorrah, a Sodom. Sodom and Gomorrah. That's out of the Bible. That's where the people look back and were
Well, that's-
cast, were turned pillars of salt.
But that's where the
There
term
is
sodomy comes from.
No, it was Lot's wife that was turned to a pillar of salt for looking
Well,
bad.
what happened with
Get your
Sodom and
Bible
Gomorrah?
stories
It
straight,
got new.
woman.
Well, y'all, excuse me.
No, I'm
It's been a
sorry.
few years.
I'm not even paying attention, but
I get my scriptures mixed up sometimes.
I believe that the term sodomy comes from Sodom.
What they were doing back then.
Back then. And the Tea Party takes another twist. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you know who else I'm just directly descended from? This one's even more honorable. Is Big Tom Wilson.
Oh, yeah. The guy who found Elisha Mitchell's body.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your family's in this area for a long time too.
Yes, but I'm not. I absorbed some Yankee values when they sent my father to
Poor
college up north.
thing. Oh dear.
Well, I know I'm proud of some of them.
You mean you came from educated Ramses?
That sounds
think
like
so.
an oxymoron.
Well, Ramses maybe that bossed enough people around so they could send their kids to school. Yeah, something like that.
You know, one of the Ramses from Madison County was president of Champion Paper for years. He got quite wealthy.
Yeah, and probably sent his kid to school.
Yeah.
Maybe up north.
Yeah, I bet he was an educated Ramsey. Yeah. I knew some Ramseys in Madison County. But now they subscribe to, and this is a standard philosophy that I have run across a lot in Madison County since when I first moved to this area. I actually moved to Madison County and I worked here in Asheville and just drove back and forth. But the philosophy that I ran across was I didn't have no education,
Thank you.
and it ain't hurt me none.
Hold on for that.
And Bobby Joe wants to drop out of third grade, and it ain't gonna hurt him none either. Now I bet you've heard that up here. Have you heard that?
That's true, and it used to be that philosophy was true.
It was
because
true
all you
back
could do
before.
was farm anyway, and you didn't need school for that.
Or go to the mills and work in the mills, or
Yeah.
some of the other manufacturing jobs that didn't require a lot of education.
Frank,
But now,
frankly, if you could make it through school enough to add and subtract and multiply and divide, and read a little
Yeah.
bit, that was all that was ever required of you.
That's right.
And that was very much really just up until, I would say probably up until the last 30 years till that started making any change in this area.
well, I know I've got uncles that were not educated, that were like, well, if they were alive, they'd be in their 70s now. And they made very good money. Very good money
My coat's ringing.
in uneducated jobs.
Uh-huh.
But that's not happening anymore. It's not going to happen anymore.
Well,
Because you have the influx of people willing to work very hard for a lot less money.
that's true. That's true. What you've got to do, though, and to tell you the truth, I really feel like the system is stacked against the common man,
Oh, absolutely.
regardless. If you get really lucky, and if you work really smart, you might stand a chance.
Thank you.
But you have to work extremely smart, and the day already one great divide that most people aren't noticing is there's a divide in our societies that's coming along of the computer literate or not, and that's going to be a big deal. I think for someone to make it, they need to make it on their own, work for themselves. It's already been proven pretty much. Now the corporation is not going to pay you what you are worth. You'll be lucky to get a living wage because there's somebody out there who's willing to do the job, maybe not even as well, but for half the price.
Well, that's the trend right now. People coming straight out of college, they'll do anything, and if it's $9 an hour, and it brings industries like television, which I've been working in, it brings everybody's
standards
prices
down.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
and
does.
titles don't mean anything anymore. Like
That's
a
right.
producer title doesn't mean much
No.
because they just throw them around.
That's
and,
right. And
yeah.
and 10 years experience means will somebody else do it for half the price? Oh, well then your 10 years experience is not worth anything. Your 15, your 20 years experience. It's but this person who may not do it as well, but might
But
slide
good
by.
enough, you know.
It might slide by.
Yeah.
Can for and at the same time things have become digitized and stuff like that. And then you've got people who have been in the business, various businesses. We know things about broadcasting, and we know technical things about production. But and so we think of that mostly, but it applies in a lot of fields too. Is that everything's become very computerized, and let's see, is that
tea yet? I think it is.
is it steeped enough?
I think so.
Just barely. It's just barely. Yeah.
Should this teapot be on top of this lovely book?
I put it up there. Yeah,
Okay,
I do that. That's to give it a
You're
pedestal.
amazing. I'm
sort of.
so impressed.
Apparently, this book's kind of obsolete.
Well, no, not as much as you may think. It's
You know,
not that we.
fishermen in Ireland and Wales and Scotland
Thank you.
used to
The
used
Grail.
to knit more than
They-
women at one
They
point.
believe that knitting itself comes out of the net making trade.
Yes, I think so. Yeah.
Oh, net making.
Fishing nets, yeah.
I can see it. Yeah.
Not internet making.
Thank you.
But that's what I'm seeing is that things have become
This is my personal
digitized,
webpage.
and at the same time that some young people coming out of college are willing to work for half the price. At least many of them have the computer skills and stuff like that that the job is now taking. For instance, were you involved when editing was not done on a computer? See, I was.
No,
Okay.
I was always non-linear. I started with Avid and then kind of.
Okay, I started with my first editing. I had two 1-inch color reel-to-reel video recorders in my living room,
So I don't even know what that means.
like this little editing station between them with a screen on it and a bunch of big buttons, and and that's.
Where'd you
that-
get that?
I bought it from a guy in Charlotte that was in the movie business down that way.
You know how much those things were new?
A lot.
Oh yeah, yeah.
About
it,
$80,000 or
it
$100,000.
it was a lot when I bought it.
Yeah.
And this okay, and let me see
And,
if I can
and
tell
what
you
happened is when Apple came out with their editing,
This
that
was-
replaced those $100,000 editing
This
machines.
this was late 70s. Okay, this was at the end of
Oh,
the.
I'm
of
impressed.
yeah, well, I've been doing this a long time.
I didn't even know that you could edit. I
in
didn't know that you
elementary
could
school.
edit.
Yes, I could edit, and then after that, I went to 3/4.
Did you do
I
the
had 3/4
bins?
machine. Huh?
Did you have your film hanging out in bins?
No,
They used to use
no,
laundry
no,
bins.
No. This was not film editing. This was videotape. This was
Oh, okay.
1-inch color reel-to-reel videotape.
Oh,
That was
okay.
right before
No, yeah,
beta.
I can edit film too and splice and do that. Yeah,
I did
and
that with
actually,
razor blade and
right, we know that. And I edit tape a lot with hard cut edits with audio tape. But for videotape, hard cut edits are not the way to go. You have to do it. You have to sync them up and do them. And I used to use tricks to sync them up too. To sync up multiple soundtracks from tapes, I found that if I would when I started doing this when I got the 3/4 machines, and if I would roll it back, you roll it back a good ways, and then you start it, and you have selected your points where your edits are going to be, where it's going to cut in and it's going to cut out and stuff like that. You roll the tape back, and the tape comes up to speed, and then it locks it locks in its sync. So and then it makes its edit, and then it comes on out.
Yeah.
Well, what I used to do was I would set it up to make an edit. but I would want the soundtrack from both tapes. From you see what I mean because one I was doing live concerts, and I would take one of the tapes I would feed from the mixing board, and one I would feed from the room, and I wanted the combination of both sounds. See on the tape. So what I would do is I would roll the tape. I would set up to do a window edit. And then I would roll the tape way back, a lot further than it needed to be rolled back to the beginning of the piece, and then beyond that a little bit before the beginning of the piece, and I would hit edit, and as it would come in to do its edit, they would lock up, and as soon as they would lock up, then I would hit the dub button and put the track from the other tape down on this one. And I'd roll them through and get both tracks down, and they'd be synchronized when I did that. You know.
You know, we were talking about Madison County.
That was a very smart thing, John.
He was talking,
Yeah.
I think he said.
Hello. We were talking about Madison County. That's what that call was about. I get to go to White Rock tomorrow.
Oh.
I'll film that. Now that's way back in the hills. They have pipe sunlight in there. That's so far back.
Well, going over Dogwood, when you go over Dogwood over onto the side where Laurel is, what is it, Sodom, Laurel, and some of those things over there.
Sodom, Laurel,
And
Big Laurel,
and
Shelton, Laurel. A lot of good places up
when
there.
we used to go over from, I lived in behind Mars Hill College. You go on down the road to Petersburg store, and turn on up in there, and there's Grapevine and that
Maze Run,
all that bunch,
yeah.
and the roads that go over the mountains back in there are I reckon they're still dirt to this day. I should.
No, it's surprising. I came over that way not long ago. I filmed it for Rapid Rap.
Okay.
I was surprised they've actually paved them now.
You're kidding.
A lot of them are paved. It's hard to find dirt road anymore in Madison County.
That's weird, but anyway, back in the day when I lived back over there, if you wanted to go over,
Quite a few are.
if you wanted to go over to what my friends on that side referred to as the dark side, they say we live on the dark side, and I guess that's because they just didn't get much sunshine in there.
On the North Slopes, yeah.
You know, who's ringing? It's
That's not me
That's
this
hers.
time.
okay. Oh my. Okay. But before you would make the trip over, if you had not made the trip over in a while, or certainly, and I'm getting all this weird, and I'm getting zzz and weird interference. Oh, it must be the cell phones that do that. That must be a reason for cutting this off. Anyway, if it had been a while since you'd been over, and if it had rained any substantial amount since the last time you were over there, it was always a good idea to check with someone who had made the trip
Oh yeah.
since the rain, because often it would wash out, and you'd get about 5 miles into that or something on a road that had like 2 spots you could turn around on, and back through those curves was not easy.
Been there, done that.
Yeah.
I was in Shelton Laurel twice a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I've got some real good friends that live over that way. I've not seen in a long time.
Well, you were showing us recently that there were still quite a few dirt roads in Buncombe
Can I
County.
have can I have Randy's?
No,
No, I won't take Randy.
Medicine.
Save the middle one for Randy.
I've got Randy's. I got the biggest one stashed there.
Well, actually, they paved my
okay.
road
Well, that's not
just
fair.
like 2 years ago.
You still live in Madison County?
I moved just over the line. The farm, the family farm was right on the line. It straddled both counties. And my cousin got the Madison part, so I moved over on the Buncombe part. But it's like 100 yards inside Buncombe.
Coming up in the world.
I live close to Madison. I'm in Alexandria now. But I'm from Madison originally, and all my people, and all your people.
Yeah, my time
And they
spent.
all intermarried.
My time spent as a actually homeless person was on the river just about a half mile south of the Alexander Post Office.
Yeah, I believe I can see some Ramsey in you now that you said it. I didn't think about it before.
If I come,
But the Ramseys I've known don't look that much different than you do.
if I come there's two routes that are almost the same way, and one of them's through one's Leicester Highway, and the other's through Alexander,
Yeah.
across Alexander Bridge. So I come through Alexander about half the time. Often I come Leicester Highway and go back across Alexander.
Yeah. Garrett Ramsey, my great.
Yeah, he knows my dad.
Well, no, the original Garrett, my great aunt married him. That's one of my connections with the Ramseys.
Actually, the Garrett Jr. was got in some of these scandals with the sheriff. I think not the latest one, but one of the other ones.
Lawrence Brown was good at scandals. He was sheriff in Buncombe County for
You don't
25,
ball your
30
yarn
years.
up in
I am
advance.
going to.
Yeah, I mean the latest.
But when it's still in a skein,
the
it
Medford
tends to come
scandals.
off the
Yeah,
skein.
he wasn't.
Come right out
He
in
was
the
captain.
middle of the skein.
So you
Captain
drag
This
your
Garrett
point,
ground-
Ramsey.
at this point, it's gotten tangly,
Yeah.
so I'm
and
going
your
to ball
and then
it.
your
And the Garrett Sr. knew my dad, and his
Well,
son
Garrett's-
worked for the DOT, and there was some scandal there, and then he worked for Medford, and of course Medford then got in a scandal. I think Garrett's still working for the sheriff though.
Well, Garrett's a Ramsey family.
That's your
name.
Christmas present.
just what I wanted. Ralph, have you heard Moss play guitar and sing songs?
Yes, I've been here since 4. I heard it a lot. It's quite good.
I didn't know.
Yeah, no one showed up to listen at the con, but oh well.
Yeah.
Do they have cable? Are you able to get this in Alexander?
No, he
No.
doesn't get it.
Yeah, I can't get it either. The only place I can watch this is here in the studio.
Same with, well, no, I can get, now that I've moved into the Casey Waters estate. I'm living at the Casey Waters estate, which is,
Does the estate get Channel 20?
the estate gets Channel 20.
Good deal.
And the estate gets a bunch of other channels too, you know.
Oh, I've been grooving.
up
I've been
to
watching
750.
RFD TV, boy.
What?
I've been watching RFD TV. They have great cattle auctions.
Or,
And then they have bull semen auctions.
Really?
That's when Imus is over.
Can you call in?
Yeah, I think you probably can.
Uh-huh.
Because I'm sure they've got absentee bidding.
Have you?
'Cause-
Have you?
I haven't bid on any bull
I was
semen
wondering
yet.
have you been placing any bids on?
No. No.
Okay. Well, that's good. Well, if I guess if a bull has a particularly good pedigree.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, we
Wouldn't
thought
want
about
to
that,
marry
but
my
you
daughter, though.
need like liquid nitrogen and stuff.
yeah.
I just bought a bull.
Oh yeah.
It's easier to buy a bull than it is to get the liquid nitrogen.
What are we making with liquid nitrogen?
You're storing bull
Storing
semen.
bull semen.
Oh,
I was talking about RFD TV and the auctions that they have on. If you watch Don Imus in the morning, then when it goes off, these very interesting programs come on, like, you know, what the agricultural climate has been like in Georgia, and they tell you all that they're growing, and the pecan crop and how it's doing, and cotton crop and soybeans.
I like the classic tractor show, so
I like
actually
that
watch
too.
RFD.
Yeah.
And you know what? One of my favorite stores is Tractor Supply. When
Oh yeah.
when they came into this area, I was so glad. I ran through there like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, I got
They
my
closed the one
tire
by
irons and
Kmart
stuff
on
there.
Tunnel Road.
Yeah, they moved out to Weaverville though.
Not like a lug wrench, but a
What
tire
about
right,
the
the
one on
pry
Brevard
bar that you
Road?
can
Is that
actually
still
pry the
there?
tires off the rims with.
Oh yeah.
Ralph,
I can mount and
the
dismount
one
my
on
own
Brevard
tires and
Road
stuff.
still there?
Yeah.
Did you get a Holstein or would that be right for a bull? Would still be a Holstein?
Well,
My
we'll
bull,
look
no, I
at
have beef
Holstein.
cattle. Holstein's a milk.
Okay.
For milk.
Okay.
My bull is half brown Swiss and
Okay.
half beefalo.
Huh.
Ooh, now that's a good combo.
Oh yeah. Okay.
I
Well,
raised cows most of my life, so I know about that.
I like to tell a story that John Six used to tell me about his grandfather, who just recently passed away. He maybe has just returned probably from his grandfather's funeral in the last day or two. If that's the case, if you're out there, John, condolences. But I wanted to I tell this story. His daughter, they all went to visit the grandparents and everything, and I think it was on a Sunday, and there came the time in the day where Grandpa was going to take his granddaughter a ride in the car, you know, and so they took a ride, and here they go, and they're just going on a Sunday drive and stuff like that, and they passed a bunch of cattle. And he looked at his granddaughter, and he looked out at the cows. He says, "What's that over there?" And he says, she looks up. She says, "Holstein." And when he got back, he says, "She's gonna do all right." He's a cattleman.
Well, Holstein, of course, are milk cows. We had Holsteins because we had a dairy when I was a kid. Then we switched over to brown and black cows.
For beef.
But they were no particular breed. They were just brown or black. So we raised those for years.
No particular breed at all, just brown and black.
Yeah, one guy came to me one time and he said, "Are those black Angus?" And I said, "Well, you're half right. They are black."
They're black.
They probably had some Angus in them, but yeah, mine are so most of mine are so crossed that you can't really tell what they are anymore.
Cows.
Yeah.
They're cows.
Yeah, I know what the bull is. Because both his parents were pedigreed.
So you bought the bull special.
Actually, I bought both his parents special.
Oh yeah, I see. You raised
and they
the
crossed. Yeah,
I see.
I bought the beefalo cow and the Swiss brown bull. Swiss brown bull wasn't that nice. He butted me a few times. We didn't have horns, so we didn't actually.
But that's a
like
fairly
swing.
impressive
You're
combination,
like,
isn't it?
Airborne.
Yeah.
People who don't live on farms don't realize what we go through.
My bull now, I named him Governor Easley, and he's pretty good. He's smarter than a cow, and he keeps he's like not as temperamental.
Just like Governor Easley.
He doesn't. Yeah,
smarter than a cow.
He doesn't panic. Yeah, he's smarter than your average cow. Yeah, so am I. And
that's what we can do. Everybody can just name their farm animals after their favorite politician.
Well, it's just like the legislature. I swear there's a legislature. In New Hampshire because they're just it's a herd mentality. They have the whole social status ranking thing, and they all follow the leader.
Do you have chickens?
Same thing with chickens. That's what I was going to say.
Do you have the same thing? Do you have chickens? Because chickens, boy, they've got an interesting little culture going.
Yeah.
Well, chickens and cats, and I reckon.
Well, not cats. Cats are independent.
I reckon pigs. Do pigs have an order?
Yeah, but it's kind of sloppy.
Yeah.
Depends on how you keep them. Pigs are quite intelligent if you don't just keep them out as sloppies.
Well, I'll tell you.
Llamas.
I'll tell you another story I heard, and
those are stupid.
And maybe you can verify this, Ralph, if you know about it. Are you aware of the Hot Shot Cafe?
Oh yeah, I ate there for 40 years.
Okay, the older woman that used to work in the back, I think she cooked.
Yeah, she did.
Okay, and her husband used to come into town and pick her up in the pickup truck, and they had a pet pig. Were you ever aware of that? Did you?
I've heard that.
You've heard that too? And that pig, I'm told, now I never saw that pig, but I'm told that pig would ride up front in that pickup truck, just sitting up like this, and he would come and pick her up, and she'd get in that truck, and the two of them with that pig sitting in the middle, and off they'd go.
Yeah, well, pigs are extremely intelligent.
Yeah, Herb had one in New Hampshire that he raised. He named it Sweetie Pie.
Now, was it a potbelly or
no,
was it a regular?
Real pig, and
pig?
And he loved it, and it was very tame and real close to him.
John Six wanted to get a pig, but they
and then he had her slaughtered.
Oh yeah.
And he just broke his heart. He's to this day he goes, I can't believe I did that to Sweetie Pie.
Every time John Six gets something, it tends to multiply.
His bet is. Well, he was going to get a pig. They wound up getting a dog instead, which the cats didn't like the dog. But anyway, I was a little worried about it at the time. I didn't know what might go along with having a pig, and but when he did his research, he found that there were the laws about you where you kept the pig had to be so far from the property line and all that kind of stuff. And we where we were living, we couldn't
zoning
qualify.
No zoning.
No zoning. How are you telling me where do you stand on the zoning issue?
That's my southern value.
Totally again.
You're totally against the zoning issue too.
Zoning is 20th century technology. It didn't work then. It won't work now.
Okay, all right. Well, and then, so you would line up with probably the majority of the Madison County.
Madison and anybody that lives outside the city limits.
Well, except that Madison has zoning, and Madison has had zoning for a long time, so it's a good question.
I'm in agreement with you, and it would be a completely different story if zoning had been such a great answer to the problems. But you know what?
To see how zoning's failed, simply look at the mountains here in Asheville. They're covered with people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and
I
that
know.
area was always zoned.
Right.
It has been for
Well, you know, if we just kill all the people off, we
Use
would.
it- yeah.
So it's unfair now because more and more people are working out of their homes.
Mm-hmm.
For example, I started my company on the old family farm. Now I have three business buildings, warehouse and everything on the farm, and they're going to tell me I can't build another warehouse on my farm.
Are they going to do that?
Well, they probably will try.
Uh-huh.
Now, luckily, I'm grandfathered in with the buildings I have already.
Uh-huh.
But, you know, it's my land. If I want to raise books instead of pigs,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah, actually, when I was up north, I thought I'd invented anti-zoning.
Yeah.
Came down here, I realized it wasn't my invention.
But a lot of the county commissioners that put in zoning against, here in Buncombe, against our wishes are going to find out come election day that we didn't appreciate it.
Right, and then what happens is it turns out that's just a power play for them, so that they get to say over what stuff gets used for and get the kickback or whatever. You know, I'm not trying to say they're getting kickbacks, but I think it's pretty obvious that
somebody's getting something
they're
greased.
they're wanting that power, and you know what? They're not making wise decisions and stuff like that. Why?
Yeah.
No, they're just taking the power.
Well, actually, I'm told exactly who and how, who and how and what, and why. The swing vote was David Young.
Uh huh.
Who's
And-
gone now running for state treasurer.
Right. That's right. He wanted a state office, and the Democratic establishment in the state is very pro zoning,
Yeah.
and so he thought if he wanted to be viable statewide, he better be more pro zoning, and then he was the deciding vote.
I understand that one of the county commissioners tried to get a particular area of Woodfin zoned for no trailers just after he bought a trailer park that would be grandfathered in.
So,
That might have been Young again. Young bought a
Well,
trailer
it
park.
wasn't in Woodfin though itself. The reason Woodfin was incorporated was to stop Asheville from taking it over. Once an area is incorporated, it sets its own zoning laws. The county can't set it.
Right, and Woodfins are less strict now than the county, so that people are wanting. You know how there's involuntary annexation for Asheville, that people near Asheville don't want to get in it. The developers, especially near Woodfin, do want to get in it because Woodfin has less zoning than
In a number,
the unincorporated area.
they have plenty though.
Yeah, a number of other areas in Buncombe County are trying to become incorporated. Swannoa, Lester. I actually live in the Lester town.
But for opposite reasons, and
In
they have opposite
Alexander.
politics. Yeah,
In
Lester.
Alexander, yeah.
Lester wants to incorporate in order to reduce zoning,
Right.
and so that there's a
To
conservative
protect
support
us.
and liberal opposition.
Exactly.
Swannoa wants to incorporate in order to increase zoning, and so it has liberal support and conservative
Yeah.
opposition.
Well, we're hoping Lester gets it so we don't have to pay the city taxes.
Yeah.
Asheville's big problem with that is that they want to incorporate so bloody much of the county into
I
Leicester.
know, yeah. They're trying to solve their internal problems by amassing
Right.
more and more
Land.
land, and it's just not right.
Right. Well, and I don't. It's not smart either. That's another thing. Is
Well-
I just said not only isn't it right, but it isn't smart because they're diluting. Because the progressive forces in Asheville are going to dilute their vote. The bigger Asheville is, the more they dilute their vote.
But have you-
So they'll never
Yeah,
build a majority in Asheville if Asheville keeps growing.
But have you seen how fast the suburbs are growing? I
Travel all over Western North Carolina, literally, and it's this way almost everywhere. There are condos being built on all the mountains. This whole area is growing like crazy, except for Shelton Hall.
yeah.
And it's not so much the construction that's the fault of zoning, but the affordability. What zoning aggravated is A, affordability, and B, commuting distances and fuel use.
Well, you shouldn't be quite so upset about it because you own land and a fair amount of it.
Yeah.
And so and so and that land value is going steadily up.
So are taxes though.
So are taxes. I know.
So are regulations on how I can use my land.
Yeah, so do I, and I'm totally pissed. In fact, I'm here. I would have sold out by now and moved out west.
Oh yeah, the only way
I'm
it
stuck here because I can't get my head around all the regulations to get my farm sold.
the only way it benefits
been stuck
you
here for like
is
2
if you
years.
intend to sell the land.
Exactly.
See,
I don't.
But if you want to live in your family home, then you may be in big trouble.
Yeah,
And it actually it forces, I hear it every day. It forces people right out of living in the home that they grew up in.
Yeah.
I don't think it's true either way because I want to sell my land.
That's an obvious problem.
I want to sell my land, and I'm terribly frustrated by zoning because it's true that I can get more for each lot,
Yeah.
but it's my customer base. Then you see, if I sell fewer lots, they have to charge more for them. If I'm charging more for them, now I'm selling to upper middle class.
Exactly.
I'm selling to the bourgeoisie.
That's who.
Right? I can't sell to plumbers and electricians and carpenters
Oh no.
unless I divide it more.
Right.
Right? And if I'm going to have lower moderate income housing or lots for lower moderate income housing, I have to cut it up. And that's what conventional zoning, because there's some new ideas, new smart growth ideas that are different. But that's what the conventional zoning is designed to limit my ability to sell in quantity, to sell affordably in quantity, rather than selling in a lower cutting the quantity and selling to the upper class.
No, you want to sell to the bourgeoisie. That's what.
I want to sell. I want to sell to the working class.
Well, that may be what you want to do, but that's not fine. That's
Not what's going to happen.
That's not. It may happen, but it's not. That's not the financial move. See, you're looking at something besides the bottom line. You're out of reality, son. Listen.
No, it is consistent with the bottom line. It balances out. If I
Does
sell
it?
more cheaper, if I sell more lots cheaper, or if I sell fewer lots more expensive, either way, it almost balances out.
same.
Who it affects differently, though, is if I sell more lots cheaper, I come out about the same. But my neighbor, my neighbor's property value,
Devalues his property.
right? My neighbor's property is worth more if there's mansions
Right.
nearby.
Yeah.